Yo, what's happening, guys? Welcome back to Swish Life Garage with your boy KT, man. Today I do got a video on the Harley truck today. If you guys saw my previous video on the accident I did have on there, you guys know I did hit a curb. Now, part of that, I did mess up the lower ball joint on the driver's side, which is pretty loose. You guys see that on this video. But you know, my thought into this was, I don't know if more than just the ball joint is messed up on the truck, so I was taking the opportunity to kind of do my own thing onto it, you know. It's a very nice truck, but I do want to modify it, so that's what this video is about, on actually lowering the front end of the vehicle. Now, whenever you do lower a vehicle, it does take additional stress on the bushings, on the bearings, so you want to make sure that your suspension is in good condition before you do lower it, or then you're just going to be, in the end, hurting yourself in the long run, because it's just going to increase the wear and tear on the vehicle itself. So that's why you guys are going to see me in this video pretty much replace a lot of suspension components, and in the future videos you're going to see me as well replace some more suspension components on this vehicle. Now, before we do start, I do want to let you guys know about the $200 giveaway I have going on right now. All you guys have to do is drop a comment down below about anything before I hit 5,000 subscribers, and I'll put your name in to win the $200. So make sure you guys are commenting. But let's go ahead and get right into the video. Alright, guys, so today is drop day. Time to get this thing going. Just got off work, ready to do this thing. Okay, so now the first thing you're going to want to do is obviously put the parking brake on, take off the center caps. This is Harley Davidson wheels, so take off the center caps, loosen up the lug nuts. Alright, guys, so there's really different ways you could go about taking off the suspension. I'm doing a whole like refurbish of suspension as far as for the bushings and everything, because it is going to be lowered. So really want to replace everything. This truck has about 88,000 and some odd miles, I think like 200 miles. I really just want to have everything fresh as can be and not have to worry about anything additional suffering due to lowering the vehicle. I'm just going to be replacing the upper control arm, the lower control arm, and the springs. I believe that's going to be it. I am going to replace other parts, but that's going to be a little bit later, or actually a few days later. So I'm not really worried about some of the other components, such as the idle arm, the pitman arm, the outer tie rods, what have you. I am going to replace those real soon. First thing I want to do is loosen up this hose or this wire for the brakes. Alright, now usually you'll have a plastic clip right here holding this line, but mine is just here with a zip tie, ghetto style. So just take that zip tie off. You want to take off this bracket. It's a little plastic bracket. There we go. Do it without breaking it. And then you gotta take off this, which just kind of screws on. Alright, now you want to loosen the brake hose right here. So here's the sway bar right here, and here's the sway bar end link. So you want to take off the nut in the bottom here and underneath the control arm. And you're going to need a deep socket, and as well you gotta hold the bolt at the very top. Alright, so that's taken off. It looks like I need to replace these bushings as well. This is the bottom one. It's torn, but you could just let it hang there, just as long as you remove the nut, the washer, and the bushing from the bottom. Next thing you're going to want to do is take off the tie-in rod. You got to take off the cotter pin in it, and then there's different ways you could take it out. If you have the tool to push out the ball joint, you could use that, or you could smack it on the side. Some people don't want to do that, or you could use a pickle for it if you plan to replace the tie-in rods. Like I said, to take it off, there's different ways, but this time I'm going to use a hammer. I am going to replace these very shortly, so I'm not really too worried about the boot. So now you can move this whole thing without the steering wheel locking. I'm going to take off the lower ball joint before we take off the upper ball joint. Again, you gotta take off the cotter pin. You take off the top one as well. Alright, so for this lower ball joint as well, you can smack it and hit it out. And so that's what we're going to do. So the thing about that one is that the ball joint goes in from the other side, so sometimes you can't really tell if you broke it loose until you take off the top one. Next, I gotta take off the top ball joint. Again, you can smack it or use a pickle fork. Now in the bottom of the lower control arm, you gotta take off two nuts that connect the strut. There's like two 13mm bolts. Alright, so I did loosen up the upper ball joint on the upper control arm. I still need to loosen it. Alright, so we got the knuckle and wheel hub assembly over here just chilling on a piece of wood. Just because I still have the, I'm guessing the ABS line and the brake line here. Down here I do have a jack underneath the lower control arm just because I am getting ready to take off the top nut of the strut. After you take that off, the suspension will come flying down. That's the reason why I have the jack here, just so it saves from that explosion and that weight just flying on down. You don't want that to happen because you'll really hurt yourself. There is a hole in here in order to put a wrench to stop the strut from spinning, and you got to get the top nut. You need a deep socket just because it does have the additional threads coming off the top. There it is right there. Comes with a new cotter pin, new bushings, new ball joint, so that looks good. And here's the lower control arm, but there's the part number as well, K20055. I don't know if you need that, 5494664, and that is the lower control arm. So let me go ahead and open these up and we'll get on to installing them. So we do have the new upper and lower control arm now in place. I didn't fully torque them down just because I want to wait till I get everything on there, and then I'll try to fully torque everything down. You guys can see, brand new, very nice. Next thing I need to do is install the spring and the shock before I put the knuckle on. Now I did show you guys the shock already, the Beltec Street Performance shock that I'm going to be using all around. Also, I'm going to be using the Beltec Pro Coil springs for the front. This should be a 2-inch drop for the regular F-150s. The Lightning and the Harley, they are already dropped an inch all around on the rear and the front. So this is going to give me an additional 1-inch drop in the front. Now if you take off the 1-inch spacer that is provided with the springs, you will get a 3-inch drop. Now that would be a 2-inch drop for the Lightnings and the Harley Davidsons. But I do plan to just do the 1-inch drop with the spacer. Alright guys, so here we have the struts and the springs. They are powder coated, very nice. Beltec Street Performance. I know these are going to be a bit stiffer than the stock ones as far as for the shock and the springs. Like I said before, if you want to lower it an inch more, equaling at 3 inches on a regular F-150. You just take off the spacer and just ride the springs like that. So that's a pretty cool adjustment. I don't think I would want to go any farther than 3 inches. Let's go ahead and throw these in. Just like the other ones, we already have the lower control arm all the way down. They should just slide right in. Now we could throw in the knuckle. I did take off the nuts to the ball joints, and they are very stiff, meaning they are very new. And so that's what we're looking for. You really want your suspension nice. You want to take care of your bushings and everything first before you even lower your car or truck. So that is the reason why I'm replacing all of this. If you guys watch my next video I do have coming up, I am going to replace some of the other parts. But as of now, let's go ahead and get this on. Now on this lower control arm ball joint, it did come with a little grease fitting, so I am going to install that onto there. Guys, so here we have it. Everything is installed, but I just gotta finish torquing everything down. But I really want to do the driver's side before I torque everything down, just so I could do everything all at once. Like I said, got the camber bolts up there. Some of you might not have them, some of you may have them. I try to place them as they were previously, the same way they were pointing. I still got to torque down the camber bolts and the shock, the upper and lower bolts. I still got to torque down the ball joint, sway bar link, and then I did put on that grease fitting on the lower ball joint. And then as well, we got the lower ball joint, which we got to tighten down, and the tie-in rod, which is right there. But everything's in there. The main thing that was blown was the shock. It was completely blown out, so good thing I am replacing those. Let's get on to the driver's side. I'm just going to speed through it since I pretty much showed you guys what to do. Right there, 2777. Again, we do have the other shock here and the upper control arm as well, RK8726. And there we are right there, brand new, with bushings, ball joint, both lower and upper control arm, and as well we do have the Beltec lowering spring. Let's get right onto it and install everything in the front. Alright guys, so I did install everything last night. I just spent some time right now just to zip tie the line here for the ABS, and as well I'm going to be losing the top clip for this line just because it doesn't fit on here any longer. And yes, I did hurt my thumb in the process of this. I did have to zip tie as well down here on the lower control arm. For some reason it wasn't threaded in there, so that's what you get for getting aftermarket parts, to be honest, is little stuff like this. Another thing I had to fix, I had to buy some bolts down here, the ones that hold onto the strut. I had to buy the bolt and the nut because it was not on there when I bought these. So like I said, that's the price you pay for buying aftermarket parts. You know, I didn't really want to return everything and wait for new parts just because I was in the process of doing everything here. I did torque all the ball joints down, the tie rod right there, lower control arm, the ball joint there. I did tighten the bolts, camber kit up here as well. And so everything is tightened down. Now is just throw on the wheels and we'll see how this looks. I'm pretty excited for this. And then here's the passenger side as well. So here it is lowered. I do notice it. It looks pretty good. Still gotta do the rear. Gonna do that 2-inch drop in the rear. Check that out. That's the 2-inch from Beltec. Springs with the spacer. Still could go an inch lower, but I think I'm gonna just test it out here for now. And to be honest, I'll probably keep it at this height, but we'll see. You guys can see there now is the difference from front to rear. Now, as you guys have seen it, we did complete the front suspension on the Harley truck. Pretty much new components, new springs, new struts, control arms, ball joints. It's just something I wanted to do, replace everything all at once, just because I don't want to just replace one bushing and then on, you know, later months down the road replace another bushing, and then you just do everything separately. Want to do everything at once and just take care of it and not have to go back again and, you know, replace parts if I have to. So that kind of eliminates the unnecessary work, and there in the future kind of saves you some time. But now I got to go ahead and lower that rear end, but of course I'm going to show you guys on the next video. Now of course, if you guys have any questions or comments about the work done in this video, drop them right below. And as well, if you're not subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button, or if you like this video, hit that thumbs up. For sure gonna have more videos on the Harley truck to come up. I just got this vehicle not too long ago. I think probably coming on 4 months now, so still a lot of work to be done. So make sure you guys are subscribed and you have that bell notification turned on. But alright guys, that's going to be the end of this video. Like I said, I still have the $200 giveaway going on, so make sure you drop a comment before I hit 5,000 subscribers. But alright guys, I'm going to have to catch you on the next one, alright?